I want you guys in behind the glass who you wish you would have come back and who should have come back. Then another one that should have come back is Mack Wilson. And so when James and I were talking in the pre-show meeting, we talked about Mack Wilson. And so we came up with a poll question for you. And as we say that, Virgil Williams goes, Mack Wilson should have come back. So it's a lot of people that probably feel that way. So here's the question that we have. Now, are we saying that out of selfishness? Are we saying that because Alabama needs a linebacker? Yes. But are we also saying it because Mack Wilson may not end up where he thought he should? Mack Wilson has first-round talent. I don't think he's going to go in the first round. I don't think he's going to go in the first round. Had he came back and had a stellar senior year, that's a very likely possibility. So here's the question. We need an inside linebacker really bad, okay? Even though K-Ho was spotted, James, at Pro Day. So that's good. We had heard he was off campus. We had heard he was gone. K-Ho was back on campus. But here's the question. Does Bama, because we need an inside linebacker bad. Bad. So poll question at Tide 1029 FM. Does Bama need Mack Wilson more as an inside linebacker? Or does Mack Wilson need Bama more to hit his dreams, his goals? Okay? So who needs who the most? That's the poll question we got up there. James, I'll let you read the official poll question, and it's at Tide 1029. We're going to get the break, but I want you thinking about that. And the phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open. I want to talk to you. Who needs who the most? We need Mack Wilson, or Mack Wilson needs Alabama?
Yeah, that's you basically stated the poll question. Between Mack Wilson and Alabama football, who needs each other more? Between Mack Wilson needing Alabama more, or vice versa, Alabama needing Mack Wilson more. And so far, all of you that have voted say Mack Wilson needs Alabama more. And by the way, I got my first comment on the thread.
Okay.
Mitchell at O, lowercase o, Mitch E, that's M-I-T-C-H-I, and then 4 E's. Mack needs UA way more. Dylan Moses is a better football player, especially at Mike linebacker. Bama will be fine without him. Can't say the same for him.
I ain't gonna go that far. we gonna read that comment on the other side, because I got a little bit of disagreement with that comment on part of it. Okay. I'm not going to say way more, and I'm not going to say fine just yet, okay? And I'm not convinced that Dylan Moses is better than Mack Wilson, because Mack Wilson came into his year last year with the same hype Dylan Moses had going into this year, right? We're going to talk about that more. Who needs who more? Well, I need you more, okay? All right, I need you more. I need you to pick up the phone and call 205-342-9904 so I can talk to you. I don't want to be doing all the talking here. These guys behind the glass, I see them every day, so I talk to them every day. So you pick up the phone, 205-342-9904. Let me hear from you. Or if you tune in on Facebook Live, Martin Houston Personal, let me hear your comments. Mack Wilson needs Bama more, or Bama needs Mack Wilson more? We'll talk about that more right here on the Blitz. Sometimes the topics just kind of find yourself. Mack Wilson yesterday said that he was the most versatile linebacker in the draft. Okay, most versatile linebacker in the draft. And, of course, that led to several comments about this must clearly be a joke. Someone else saying, hey, he's a third-ranked linebacker. 40 time doesn't equal better or worse. He's definitely versatile. Versatile on Twitter, maybe, is some of the comments. Shane saying a little bit full of himself. His 40 was terrible. He is a lie, was what one person said. He is win focused. That part's good. That's clearly a joke is on there again. Got lost in pass coverage too often. Should have stayed in school for another year. Ain't true. If he didn't tweet it, though. So if you tweet it, that makes it true. And somebody else said, yeah, and I look like Morris Chestnut. I don't know what that means. So anyway, our Twitter question, you can go out to @Tide1029FM. Today's at the Blitz 1029 question of the day. Between Mack Wilson and Alabama football, who needs each other more? Mack Wilson needs Alabama more. UA needs Mack Wilson more. Right now, 89% in favor of Mack Wilson needs Alabama more. Let's see what Pat has to say about that. Pat, you went to Blitz. What's on your mind?
Morton, how many million did Mack lose by not coming back for his senior season?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you this. I would say probably about 12. And reason being is that there's a whole tremendous amount of difference in top 10 money versus middle second round money.
Yeah, and that's the question, though, you have to answer. If Mack Wilson came back next year, was he ever going to be a top 10 pick?
I think we don't know that for sure.
Right. That's the question is and guys, James, Aubrey, that's a good question. Was Mack Wilson, because when you're answering this question, you have to be making some assumptions, in my opinion. The assumptions have to be that you feel like Mack Wilson has first-round talent if you want him back at Bama and you think he's making a mistake going to the NFL. Mack Wilson, I doubt very seriously, falls below mid-second round. Okay?
Yeah. I just said the difference in the millions is what we're talking about.
But you have to be assuming that Mack Wilson was going to be what? A top first-rounder. Was Mack Wilson was Mack Wilson at his best ever going to be a top 10 pick?
Like you said, that remains to be seen. All I know is that Alabama needs depth, and that's what I'm going to say.
So the question now then, let me ask you a question. So answer the question. Do we need Mack Wilson more, or does Mack Wilson need Alabama more? See, you're saying he lost millions, but then you said that we need an inside linebacker. So that's both sides of the question. Who needs which one the most? Do we need?
Hey, I got you. It was a great question, Martin. That you did an outstanding job. You and James did this morning.
So that's the question: is which one who needs who the most? Because here's the reality of it: is Mack Wilson is going to still be drafted. Come April 25th, 27th, Mack Wilson would have been on somebody's team by that point. The question is he going to be a late first rounder or a mid second rounder? Because I think that's where he's at right now. He's still somewhere between late first and middle of the second. So he may lose $3-4 million. I don't think he's going to lose that amount of money we're thinking. But if you make the money for a year and you really – because if he comes back next year, he's still going to be late first round, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Mack Wilson, a good Mack Wilson is going to be a 20 or below draft pick probably. So how much money is he giving up? I don't know that.
First round, second, all I know this is probably even $5 million is better than no million.
Well, and that's the thing is that's right. So from his standpoint, if he's going to be a late to end of the first round guy, early second round guy, is it better? Because here's what you have to understand. Do you remember a guy who left and he didn't go as high as we thought, named Landon Collins?
Sure.
Where did Landon go? Didn't Landon go in the second round? Like the first pick of the second round, somewhere like that?
That's right.
Okay. So who would have said that ending up with the Giants as a second round pick Was that better than Trent Richardson ending up as a top 4 pick?
Well, hey, let's tell you the difference between them right here. Here's the problem, and that's just like with for Mack Wilson. Unless they can get a no man, Trent did not have a no man. No, your mama don't need a $12 million house when a $300,000 house in Pensacola, Florida would be wonderful.
But what I'm saying is,
all of that, unless they all can get a no man.
But also, it's not just them. I agree with it.
Doesn't matter how many millions you get.
I agree with the no man, but I also believe it's important where you end up. Let me tell you a guy who was a late pick, and I guarantee you Mack Wilson's not better than he was. His name is Hightower. Mm-hmm. And he went late. You think that worked out for him?
Sure.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a no man.
You get on that second contract.
There you go. Yeah. And that's the key. This Mack Wilson thing could fool all of us. He could lose money potentially up front because he falls in the draft, but he could end up falling to New England. I mean, and then he gets that second contract. And New England is the right type of organization. You end up making all the bonuses. You end up so it's an interesting question because we just think, man, it's better to be a high draft pick if you leave early than it is a low draft pick. But that's not always the case. So just I'm asking. I hadn't given my solid opinion yet, but
I got you.
So Pat, which one is it, Pat? Which one is it, Pat?
I'm going with Alabama needs him more than
all right.
Alabama.
You're on that side of the poll that only has about 20% of the vote.
I got you, but hey, all I want is to win.
That's
at
right.
all costs.
All right, thanks, Pat.
All right,
have a last one. All right, guys, let's talk about that. You know, everybody, if I can, that's what you hear people say. He's going to lose so much money. Well, where was Mack Wilson going to end up in the draft anyway? Okay? When he left, he was going to be a middle round guy. If he came back, do you think he would go up from the middle? Because think about this. You see guys all the time. What we see in the NFL and how they do the draft is different than a lot of other sports. The NFL draft will take and measure a guy's stats. And that's why you see a guy from Buffalo who hadn't played at Alabama, hadn't played at any major school, end up being like a number 1 pick because they look at him and goes, "Oh my God, he's a physical specimen. He can run, he can jump, he can do all those things." Mack Wilson could have had a great football season and still didn't do well on the testing next year. And his season wouldn't have helped him that much in terms of stock.
I think if Rolando McClain, wasn't he a high draft pick? And look how his NFL career turned out.
Yeah, now that's the question is it because there's a lot of things that go to ruin your career. There's the team you end up with, there's the choices you make in terms of what you do with your money, and then there's the choices you make in terms of what you do with and to your body. Rolando failed because of, I think, his choices of what he did with his body and who he hung out with. Trent he couldn't tell anybody no. So he spent all his money, and then he had the pressure, and he was with a bad organization. Trent Richardson would be in the NFL probably if he had ended up with a better team where he wasn't asked to be the man and he had a little better supporting cast. That's the advantage of falling late, like my boy, Hightower. Hightower fell late in the draft. And so would Mack Wilson be better served? Because the reason we say he should come back to Alabama is why? Are we saying that because for his sake so that he'd be a higher draft pick? Or are we saying that really, let's be real, do we really need Mack Wilson this upcoming season?
Do you want to revisit what Mitchell said on our Twitter?
Yes, go ahead.
Mack needs UA way more. Dylan Moses is a better football player, especially.
Stop right there. Mack Wilson needs Alabama needs Mack needs UA more.
Way more.
Mack Wilson's still going to be drafted. Alabama's still going to be without a linebacker. Mack Wilson's going to be getting paid come April 27th. Alabama's still going to need a linebacker. Mack Wilson's going to be in camp come June, in July, in August, and Alabama's still going to need an inside linebacker. We can't manufacture one of them jokers. Until after spring, I would have to say that statement, the way more, maybe a little exaggerated. So what was next?
Dylan Moses is a better football player, especially at Mike linebacker.
He's a better athlete. Okay. If in the traditional sense of inside linebackers, who's the worst two linebackers to play under Nick Saban at inside linebacker? Trey DePriest. Let's take him out. Now, other than him, of all the other linebackers that have played at Alabama, which one of these two guys would you take over anybody? If you had a choice, if he's way better than Mack Wilson and a much better football player, he should be able to beat out somebody other than Trey DePriest. Who you going to take him over? Ragland? Mosley? McClain? Hightower? You see what I'm saying? So when you say he's so much better than those guys, then is Dylan Moses everything that is he good? Yes. But is he great? Does Dylan Moses give you the same feeling you had with the other guy? Not only did we lose Mack Wilson, but we don't feel the same way about Dylan Moses the way we have about the other guys that were coming back. Now, that don't mean he won't be great. Don't hear me saying that.
Right, Martin. Yeah, I do not feel like Dylan Moses is anywhere on the same level as any of those linebackers, at all. The
question is, can he get there? And maybe that's what he's talking about. Because here's the thing. We said the same thing about Mack Wilson last year. We thought Mack Wilson this year was going to be like alpha dog. And he had to take over the responsibility of calling the plays. And it made him more of a thinker. Now, will Dylan Moses be able to play and think at the same level when he has all the responsibility of leading? He made some statements yesterday, James, that he would. He said he's ready to take on the leadership role. 2 days ago, Monday, he talked about that leadership role. So what else did he say after that? And then we'll get to break.
This is the rest of what he said. Quote, Bama will be fine without him. This is at Mitchie. Can't say the same for him.
I'm going to reverse that. Mack Wilson may not make as much money as we thought he would when he left Alabama. But Mack Wilson, if he does right with his money, he's going to be fine. He may make a little less for the first few years of his contract, but if he's everything he says he is, and if he's everything that we think he could be if he came back and developed, he'll get one of those $45, $50 million contracts in a couple of years and get 75% of it guaranteed. Alabama's going to be fine too. So both are going to be fine. I just don't know that Mack Wilson won't be better off year one in the pros than Alabama will be this year. I'm concerned about inside linebacker. If you can't pick up on that, I'm concerned about it. All right, talking about Mack Wilson and his return or not to return. UA needs him. He needs UA. We got a few thoughts here on Facebook, so I'm going to try to get to those. A lot of them. Let me see. Virgil Williams saying a non-tweeting Wilson needs Bama more than Bama needs him if he stays the same. In other words, if Mack came back focused and ready to make the leap, then we would benefit. But if he came back the same as last year and just went through the season, I'm not so sure. And needs to come back, close his Twitter account, and concentrate on becoming an alpha dog. CJ Watson saying, overall, I think Mack will be fine, but I think he'd improve his stock if he came back. Some guys you look at and say they need to go because they're ready, like Foster. I don't feel the same way about Mack. CJ Watson responding to me talking about that second contract. He said, I said that, hey, he gets with this team, then he gets the second contract. True, but we're talking about max draft stock, not second contract stock. Virgil Williams says no one is guaranteed a second contract. He needs more development. And C.J. Watson saying, hey, his numbers may be bad, but his film would be improved. Here's something that, this is the difference sometimes between thinking the way the players think and thinking the way fans think. Mack Wilson may not get a second contract. Mack Wilson may break his leg next year playing for Alabama and never get the first contract. think about this. When you go to a job and you get your job, forget NFL. When you go to a job and you come in at entry level, that's what a rookie is. They just pay you a lot of money to come in as a rookie. Do you think, oh, man, I may not get a chance to get promoted in this job? No one ever takes a job thinking that way. So no football player goes to the NFL thinking, I'm not going to get a second contract. Especially a guy who is a first or second round talent. They don't think that way. But they do think, if I come back next year and get hurt, that's zero money. If I go to the NFL and get hurt, at least I got the first contract, workman's comp, and all of that. And would you rather be playing as a second-round draft pick in the NFL or a first-round potential draft pick with no guarantee? Anybody remember Ken Swilling? Y'all ain't old enough. Played for Georgia Tech. He was one of the first. He had a brother. It was Ken and Keith. I get them mixed up. One played for. He was a linebacker for the Saints, and then Swilling he was a DB at Georgia Tech. Consensus first round draft pick. Came back for his senior year. Didn't have a great year. Things happen. Say Mack Wilson comes back this year, and all of a sudden there's in the linebacker position, there's two or three guys like my boy. What's the boy up at Clemson? What's the quarterback name at Clemson? Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence. See, the thing about it is Mack Wilson knows who's in this class. He's played the whole season. He knows who's in this class. He doesn't know which linebacker is going to be great this upcoming season. So he could have an even better season. And guess what? There'll be 3 linebackers that were better than him next year. He's still in the same spot, and he lost that money. So I'm telling you, they don't think the way fans think. They don't think that I may not. They consider the possibility. I promise you, they consider the possibility of getting hurt playing college one more year more than they do not being good enough to make it to the second contract. So in that sense, I know what we're saying. Let me see. See what I said. I think Mack Wilson leaving will help Moses. I think Moses will step up and be the alpha dog. I think that we will be okay, but for depth, we sure need him. Tim Redding said, hope Moses doesn't look lost like he did in the championship game. See some people voicing some concerns over Moses. I do hope Mack gets there with the second contract, but at this time, I don't see him getting there. I think Mack Wilson is probably going to he's going to be fine in the NFL. Probably if he gets with the right team. I don't think it's his talent. I think his maturity level, and get him off of Twitter, get him focused. I think he'll be fine. Let me see other comments. Robert Saucier brings up a good point. He says, shouldn't there be some avenues for these guys to return if they feel like they made a mistake, maybe like basketball if he doesn't have an agent? Oh, I think that would be awesome for football if they were to go out and figure out a way that these guys could go through a combine type of situation. And if combine doesn't work out for them, then they turn around and they're allowed to come back if they didn't sign with an agent. That would be awesome if they could go to combine doesn't work out, boom. I don't see what that would hurt. Like basketball already gets a chance to go work out. Like basketball, like Herb Jones and John Petty worked out for some pro teams last year. And I forget what they come, Rising Stars or some type of camp. And so pro guys already have seen them up close and personal. In football, you can't see them up close and personal. You can't leave for 3 years, and then you get one shot. So that would be a huge change, huge benefit. Kevin Smith talking about Moses, and this may be a continuation question. Is Moses ready to be the alpha dog? Kevin Smith said, I just don't think Moses is that instinctive, but he has tremendous speed and athleticism. He needs to take the next step. So there's several other comments. Let me see what Virgil had to say. I'm not sure that would make a difference with Mack. His talking says he feels like he made the best decision and he's a top draft pick. I don't think he's listened to anyone. I could be wrong, but that's just my feeling. I get that feeling that he believes that he's still going to be a top pick, still going to be a first-round draft pick. And maybe if he doesn't, that's going to motivate him to have an even better NFL career because he's motivated and plays with a chip on his shoulder. Maybe that's what Mack Wilson needs. Maybe he needs a chip on his shoulder to play. Maybe he needs to feel disrespected, and maybe that'll be what triggers what appears to be an awful lot of athletic ability. When I looked at that kid, not this past year, the year before, I said, yeah, he's the next one in the line of great Alabama linebackers. And I think he would have if he had had someone else to call the plays. And that's what I'm telling you. I think Mack Wilson is not a play caller. I don't think he's ready to be the play caller. That doesn't mean he's not a great football player. And I'm concerned that the same thing that's going to be the case with Dylan Moses. Hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm totally wrong. Maybe Josh McMillan could be like Sean Dion Hamilton, a guy that you look at and there's nothing flashy about him, but he's smart as all get out. Maybe he can be Batman's Robin. Maybe Dylan Moses is Batman. Josh McMillan or one of those guys can be Robin and take care of making all of the calls. We'll see what happens with that.